Yao Jin, happy birthday, it took me so long to pick out a gift for you, I hope you like it. By the way, are you free this weekend? I heard there's a new cat cafe on the East Lake.
As soon as Jin Siming got out of the classroom, she walked into a situation where a boy from the class next door was flirting with Yao Jin near the door. This was a normal occurrence. After all, many men and women visited Yao Jin between and after classes. The awkward part of this scene was that the boy just handed Yao Jin a love letter. The boy noticed her and froze for a moment before smiling dryly in greeting. An awful feeling arose in Jin Siming's heart. A feeling like she had just woken up in the morning only to step into a pile of dry shit. She wanted to turn her head and go back into the classroom while pretending that she didn't see anything. However, it was too late for her to pretend she did not see anything. Yao Jin had already turned her head and met her eyes. Jin Siming could only summon up the courage to bite the bullet and walk past the two of them quickly with an expressionless face. It was one thing to walk into an awkward situation, but an entirely different thing to let Yao Jin, that little bitch, think she was deliberately avoiding it. That would be like admitting defeat, which was even more embarrassing for her than walking into an awkward confession. PFFTTT. Sure enough, before she even walked that far, she heard that familiar sneer laced with a hint of contempt coming from behind her. What are you laughing at? Jin Siming could imagine Yao Jin's face right now. That pair of alluring fox eyes must be sparkling with triumph and full of smugness right now. Just thinking about it made her teeth itchy, and in an instant, her steps became just a little bit heavier. She still had a dark expression on her face when she came out of the bathroom and returned to her desk. What's the matter? Did something happen when you went out just now? Your face looks so unsightly. Su Xiaohang was one of few girls in this class that was close to Jin Siming. She is Jin Siming's desk mate and best friend. She noticed the low, intimidating pressure Jin Siming was emitting the moment she returned and had asked that question with concern.
You remember that skater from class 11?
However, Su Xiaohuang was a chatterbox, and once the conversation started, no matter what it was about, she could carry on the conversation like there was no tomorrow. Did he bother you again? But you're an alpha now, so why is he bothering you? He should not have a reason to bother you anymore, right? Su Xiaohang continued, although, I did hear that he often comes to visit Yao Jin recently. I think I just saw him try to give her a birthday gift at the door, but there were so many people surrounding Yao Jin just now, so I don't think he has a chance with her at all. Jin Siming was starting to regret ever mentioning this to Su Xiaohang. She has forgotten that her desk mate has a big mouth. Not only did her desk mate's words not comfort her, on the contrary, they were like arrows that struck her where it hurt. Jin Siming and Yao Jin are like fire and water, completely incompatible with one another. Everyone in the class knows this. As the two most famous girls in the school, she and Yao Jin are old faces on the school forum, as they are often compared with each other. They are compared by their faces, makeup, grades, the number of admirers they had, and more. They've shown up on the forums quite a few times by now. When there are comparisons, there will always be a clear winner and a loser. The more often it occurred, the more conflict arose between the two. When the two meet each other head-on, there will always be a bloody storm. However, anyone with a discerning eye can see that this so-called bloody storm is just a one-sided beatdown by Yao Jin. Whenever they meet head-on, wasn't it always Yao Jin who ran circles around Jin Siming with just a sentence or two? However, Jin Siming, in her heart, didn't think so. Although she may not be able to fight with her words, she never thought she had lost in any other category. Therefore, when it came to many aspects of her life, Jin Siming regarded Yao Jin as her number one imaginary enemy. This competitive and hostile relationship between the two lasted for quite some time until Yao Jin differentiated into an omega and Jin Siming differentiated into an alpha. Then everything changed. At the very least, most normal people no longer compared the two, as one cannot compare an alpha with an omega. However, regarding this matter of being differentiated into an alpha, Jin Siming still held quite a grudge. Yao Jin had differentiated earlier than her. When she heard the other party differentiated into an A-rank omega, Jin Siming was very happy. This is because, in the results from her hospital tests, she was predicted to differentiate into an S-rank omega in the future. When that happens, she will finally be able to one-up Yao Jin. However, she was only happy for a few days when the tables turned on her. Because she actually differentiated into an alpha. How could she become an alpha? She would rather be an ordinary person than differentiate into an alpha. For so long, Jin Siming has never questioned her inevitable future of differentiating into an omega. Even her parents believed she would differentiate into an omega and had raised her as their precious omega princess since she was young. This is evident from the pile of dolls in her bedroom, the pink princess bed in the middle of said bedroom, and the pile of frilly-sleeved pink princess dresses in her closet. All of them stood testament to this statement. But who would have thought that she would differentiate into an alpha instead and an extremely rare S-rank alpha too? The days after her differentiation was the most depressing period of Jin Siming's life. She even took a 1-month leave from school to recuperate and, only after receiving some psychological counseling from her many visits with a licensed therapist, did her heart mend and she finally started to accept her situation. However, the most difficult obstacle for Jin Siming to overcome in her heart was Yao Jin. In her opinion, her alpha status meant she had lost again. She had lost in the most important matter of differentiation and she had lost utterly and completely. Ah! Ming Veo, are you angry because that skater boy doesn't come to find you anymore, that he has switched teams and now is so attentive with Yao Jin? Do not tell me you are in love mmpph.
Shh! Su Zioahang, please keep your voice down.
Not many students were in the classroom as it was break time, so there was not much noise in the silent classroom. Yet, this loudmouth, Su Xiaohang, still didn't bother keeping her voice down, so Jin Siming had no choice but to quickly reach forward and block the other's mouth in fear that someone else had heard. However, this large movement had attracted some attention. 2 girls in the first 3 rows on the left looked at them twice, but after meeting Jin Siming's glare, they immediately turned back. How embarrassing! If this was to spread out to the school, they LOL think she's jealous of Yao Jin. Jin Siming retracted her hand and then rubbed the saliva on her hand onto Su Xiaohang's school skirt with disgust.
Su Xiaohang, how many times have I said to control that loud voice of yours? I am not angry because of him or Yao Jin, so please stop spewing nonsense.
After she finished speaking, she stopped talking to Su Xiaohang, turned around, and opened her exercise book to start answering questions. Some time passed, yet there were no longer any movements from the person beside her. It was quiet, too different from Su Xiaohang's usual style, so she glanced sideways with a question in her eyes. Fuck. This weirdo is looking at her with gleaming eyes and blushing cheeks while holding her cheeks in her hands. She looked like a love-struck pervert and it scared Jin Siming so much that her heart jumped into her throat.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you looking at me like that all of a sudden?
Ming Pao, I have wanted to say this for a long time now, but you have really changed after you differentiated. When you gagged me with your hands just now, it was so alpha-like. Is this the charm of an alpha? Although I have not differentiated yet and cannot smell your pheromones, I might differentiate into an omega in the future. You are an alpha now, You cannot randomly touch me like that in the future, or else it might cause my heart to jump. Su Xiaohang flashily pointed at her and then cheekily gave her a wink. It seems like her desk mate has watched one too many movies. Jin Siming rolled her eyes and said with disgust.
You're disgusting. Stop acting crazy and be a little more serious.
I am very serious. You really have grown a lot taller since your differentiation. Is it because you are a higher ranked alpha? Is that why Bean Sprout has not grown taller since he differentiated? A short male alpha heard his nickname and stiffened as he turned around and exclaimed.
Loudspeaker Su, why did you pick on me for no reason? Differentiation is considered the second evolution of the human body, so the higher the rank, the greater the difference. An S-rank alpha like Siming is a rare one in a 1,000 cases. Do you think everyone would have such obvious physical changes like her? If you don't understand this basic common sense, then all those years of biology classes have been wasted on you.
Su Xiaohang shrank back. Why are you so violent? I just mentioned you in the passing. Why must you overreact so much? And you should already know that I always place last in biology exams anyways. The boy could not argue with her shamelessness and only snorted coldly before returning to work on his exercise set. Bean Sprout's original name was Liu Qi, but because he was rather short, he was given the nickname Bean Sprout. As a bookworm, his only hobby is studying, but he is no cowardly nerd. He has a short temper and explodes at the slightest provocation. Someone like Su Xiaohang, who likes to make trouble, also loves to quarrel with him, and the two of them arguing was considered a normal occurrence. If it was like before, Jin Siming would definitely join in and tease him with Su Xiaohang, but she was still preoccupied with her own misery over her differentiation and was not interested in anything else. At this moment, a loud noise sounded near the door of the classroom. Yao Jin walked in with a group of people surrounding her, and Gao Mei, who was right beside her, raised her voice and said, "Ahem, everyone pay attention. This Sunday, our little princess, Yao Jin, is celebrating her birthday. There will be a special birthday party at Jinding Pavilion. After 6 o'clock in the afternoon, anyone can enter as long as they report their name at the door. We welcome everyone to come and play." Wow, Jinding Pavilion. That place's Lionhead's meatballs are the best. I can never get a reservation there, but now. Thank you, beautiful, I will definitely go. Since the beauty, Yao Jin, is celebrating her birthday, I must attend. There were a lot of cheers ringing out in the classroom, and Jin Siming sat in the back with her lips curled in disdain.
Hey, isn't it just a birthday celebration? Why is there a need to put on such a big show? It would be something an upstart would do. And princess, what a tacky title.
Although you say that, it is really hard to reserve a place at the Jingding Pavilion. Even if you call a week in advance, you might not get a table, yet Yao Jin was able to book the entire place. Tisk, tisk, how amazing! Su Xiaohang said with an envious tone.
Do you want to go?
Jin Siming glanced at her coldly, scaring Su Xiaohang into cowering away from her. This, Ming Bao, I know you used to have a bad relationship with Yao Jin, but now you two are different. There is no need to compare with each other anymore. After all, she is an Omega and you are a.
Alright, I know already. Go ahead and follow Yao Jin from now on.
I'm not. That's not what I'm trying, Ming Bao, you. Jin Siming didn't wait for her to finish and closed her book with a paw. Before pulling out her chair and walking towards the door without glancing back. Anyone who looked at her face right now could see the word angry written all over it. If even Su Xiaohang was praising Yao Jin, how can she not be angry after she differentiated? All the alphas who used to buzz around her began to stay away. A few of her admirers have now switched over to Yao Jin. This was already enough to anger her, but now even her best friend was leaning towards Yao Jin. It was simply adding oil to the already raging fire. The fire in Jin Siming's heart grew stronger and stronger. She was so wrapped up in her anger that she didn't pay attention to the ground beneath her feet. Suddenly, she felt her ankle wobble, and her center of gravity grew shaky. She had tripped over something and was now rushing towards the ground. Woo! When she landed on the floor, she did not feel the cold, hard ground against her body but something soft instead. The softness was accompanied by a nice smell, a sort of alluring sweetness that made her subconsciously take a few extra sniffs.
Classmate Jean, do I smell good?
A familiar voice entered her ears and she focused her eyes to see Yao Jin's smiling face appear beneath her.
I'm home. Jin Siming weakly threw her school bag onto the cabinet in the hallway, and then similarly put on her slippers with no strength in her arms.
Aya, my baby girl has returned. Auntie Lee has made your favorite braised pork chops tonight. Wash your hands quickly and get ready for dinner. Mama Jin greeted her warmly and packed away the school bag that Jin Siming threw haphazardly to the side. She then urged her daughter towards the dinner table. Jin Siming sat at the dining table to see dozens of meat and vegetable dishes of different colors and flavors on the table in front of her. The rice bowl in front of her was also one size bigger than the others. She couldn't help but complain.
Mom, there are no guests today, and it's just the three of us. So why did you make so much? And look at this bowl of mine. Didn't I tell you not to raise me like a pig?
You brat, what are you saying? We've got to make up for the special changes of your body. And although you always complain on the surface, don't you still end up eating at least 5 bowls of rice?
That's right, that's right. Sister, stop pretending. You're not the same as before, you can't even control your own mouth anymore. It doesn't matter if you eat a little more, you won't get fat anyways.
Sitting on the side, Jin Tong, who had just finished playing a match in his video game, was picking up his chopsticks to dig in. He glanced at Jin Siming and then at her clothes before crying out.
Mom! Why did you give her my clothes again? That t-shirt is a limited edition from a famous co-branded collection. I can't even bear to wear it myself due to how special it is.
It's only a piece of clothing, just buy another one. I decided to give your sister some of your clothes, when I saw that there were so many clothes in your closet you haven't even worn once after buying. All of your big sister's previous clothes can't be worn anymore, and since I haven't had the time to buy new ones, as an emergency measure, I had to give her some of your clothes to wear.
Aya! Didn't I just say those were limited editions? Even if I want to buy another, I can't anymore, okay? Humph, Mom, you always spoil her. That's it, I'm full. Jin Tong's tiny face was flushed red with anger and he stomped back into his room angrily.
That stinky brat is not young anymore, yet his temper is getting worse and worse. Ming Ming, don't argue with your brother. His room is about to burst from all the shoes and clothes in his room. He is becoming more and more vain every day, even worse than a teenage girl. He bought so much, but won't wear any. It's such a waste if we just let those clothes sit there in his room.
It's alright, Mom. This outfit is pretty good. I like it very much. You're awesome.
Jin Siming looked gleefully at her brother's angry back and smiled happily as she gave Mama Jin a thumbs up. Jin Tong is Jin Siming's little brother, but he's only 1 year younger than her. Furthermore, when she was a child, she was rather skinny and small. So her brother has never respected her as his older sister, and the number of times he infuriated her was countless. Now, seeing the rarely seen angry and dejected side of him, it made Jin Siming's heart bloom with joy. When Mama Jin saw how magnanimous Jin Siming was, completely unlike the previous times where the two would start fighting the moment one of them touched the other, she was very pleased. Ming Ming has become so sensible after the differentiation. Oh, right. Speaking of new clothing, I haven't had the time to buy you any. Since tomorrow is a Saturday and you don't have school, Mom will accompany you to buy some new clothes. Jin Siming's hand that was holding her chopsticks paused. After her differentiation, her height has increased by more than 10 centimeters and her entire body was a whole size bigger than her original size. She went from the petite and soft-looking little sister to the current tall, long-legged, and muscular woman. No matter what she wore, she had a sort of strong and valiant look to her that made it impossible for her to wear her favorite little pink dress. Her previously soft, sweet, and weak-looking temperament had completely disappeared. Jin Siming pinched her now slightly broader shoulders with a face full of disgust and felt a sense of wrongness in her heart. It would been so great if she had split into an omega. Then she wouldn't be so jealous of Yao Jin, that little vixen, for being able to wear the pretty little dresses that she couldn't.
Mom, I already made an appointment with my classmates to go shopping for clothes tomorrow, so you don't have to accompany me. Also, I'm full, so I'm going back to my room first.
Jin Siming took a few quick bites of her food and then headed towards her room. She flopped onto her bed and then after playing a few rounds of her favorite video game, she clicked open the group chat that was filled with her friends. Other than Su Xiaohang, there were 2 other people in the group chat who were both friends of hers since childhood. Jin Siming, my babies, who is free tomorrow, come buy some clothes with me. A few seconds later, she got a response. Jian Xin, tomorrow I'm going to meet my Wei Zi who is scheduled to land at the Nan'an airport tomorrow. So I am not free. Xia Yv, who is this Wei Zi, the new member of the women's team? You sure are a diligent little fence sitter, aren't you? Didn't you also meet Tong Ran just last week? You also said she was your destiny and you would never fall in love with another. Jian Xin, what do you know? Idols are like clothes. How can you bear to not buy a new dress at least once a month? What's more, for people like us who chase stars, we always try to keep things fresh and new. As long as I work hard in flipping through these idols, then happiness will be mine. Jian Xin, and Wei Zi is different from other little idols. She is a rare female alpha from the entertainment industry and has a super beautiful and amazingly good body. In my opinion, she has the best face in the entire industry. I will send you guys some photos for you to admire. Jian Xin, picture. Su Xiaohang, really, again the way you weigh your idols are the same as someone selling illegal movies online. Xia Yv, give it up already, none of us chase stars here. It's better if you compare idols with your sisterhood of like-minded fangirls instead. Su Xiaohang, say, my Ming Bao is also a female alpha now and she is also a famous big beauty in our school. Most importantly is that I can see and touch her, unlike you who have to chase your idols. If I had to chase someone, I'd rather chase my Ming Bao. Especially now that all of her baby fat has disappeared and her skin has grown even whiter. So beautiful and so alpha. Come and take a look at this picture of her side profile I took this afternoon. Picture. Jin Siming was going to join in on the teasing of Jian Xin and was happily typing out a response when she saw that Su Xiaohang had posted a picture to the group chat. She clicked on the picture to enlarge it. The girl in the picture has her head bowed as she sat at her desk and diligently did the problems in her exercise book. Her side profile seemed to be outlined by a gold border due to the setting sun in the background. Her gaze was focused, which paired nicely with her slender and beautiful eyebrows that held a touch of valor and heroism to them. Then there was her high nose, the perfect curves of her jawline, and her snow-white skin that was as clear as jade. One had to admit that it was a good photo and taken very well. So much so that the beauty in the picture seemed almost unreal. Even Jin Siming herself didn't even recognize it was herself at first sight. However, even if it was not a ugly picture, Jin Siming still felt rather offended and quickly typed out a response to scold Su Xiaohang while telling her to delete the picture. Jin Siming, Su Xiaohang, you secretly photographed me again, hurry up and delete it. Su Xiaohang, isn't it beautiful, you should be thanking me for recording such a beautiful moment instead. Xin, not bad, not bad, this shot is really good, just touch it up a bit and you too can become a star. Xie, as expected of our Ming Bao, even though she differentiated into an alpha, she is the most beautiful alpha. But the problem is she is an alpha. The image of Yao Jin's charming little face and slender body flashed in her mind again. She couldn't help but type out sourly, but this baby still wants to be a weak omega protected by others. No one spoke in the chat for a few seconds until Su Xiaohang, Ming Bao, you will be a 60 kilograms or more alpha in the future. Don't act so omega, otherwise it will seem very strange. Xin, disgusted.jpg. As expected, she was insulted. She knew this would happen. After all, when she had differentiated and threw a tantrum in front of her mother, the other party also gave her a look full of disgust. Can she not throw tantrums and act like a baby anymore just because she became an alpha? Jin Siming felt very aggrieved in her heart. Jin Siming, alright, enough, stop changing the subject. Who can go shopping with me tomorrow? Su Xiaohang, me. Xie, me. Jin Siming, okay, then I will meet you guys at the usual place at 6 tomorrow. Su Xiaohang, there is one more thing, Ming Bao, I don't know if you saw it. A picture of you pushing down Yao Jin in class yesterday was posted to the school forums. There were a lot of views, comments, and reposts on the topic. A picture of her and Yao Jin, it couldn't be a picture of when she accidentally pushed down Yao Jin yesterday. Chapter 3. Jin Siming clicked on the school's forums and was greeted with a homepage full of posts about her and Yao Jin. The thread titles were all very flashy too. Punching bag, Jin Siming finally makes a move on Yao Jin. The school's two goddesses come to blows. Jin Siming pushed down Yao Jin in the classroom because, among the tornado of posts, some of the threads contained even weirder topics, such as, Jin Yao CP stands up. He with my rival and I, realistic version. Jin Siming x Yao Jin. TN, CP equals couple, he equals happy end. But posts like this one were selectively ignored by Jin Siming. She scrolled down and finally clicked on a post with a relatively large number of comments. The post also had a clickbait title, Gossip Breaking News: A Fierce Battle Occurred Between Classes, click to see Jin Siming push Yao Jin down. If one clicked on the post, they would find that the OP didn't actually say much and only directly uploaded 2 photos. Those 2 photos captured the scene of when she accidentally stumbled and then pushed Yao Jin down yesterday afternoon during break. In the photo, she pressed her hands on either side of Yao Jin, and as it was taken from an overhead view, one could only see her back and a part of Yao Jin's face that was being partially blocked by her head. Although one has to admit it, even though it was quite the tricky angle and the photo was taken rather casually, Yao Jin's delicate and beautiful face was still so pretty. But after noticing Yao Jin's slightly raised lips and faint smirk, Jin Siming bitterly ridiculed her. Is Yao Jin, this fellow, so shameless to even this level? She fell onto the ground in front of the entire class, and yet she can still maintain such an expression in such an embarrassing situation. Doesn't she get tired of it? Task, what a scary fellow. She didn't even have a hint of a guilty conscience as the person who caused the other party to fall. There were 2 photos in total, and although the angles were different, there was not much difference between the 2 photos. When she scrolled further down, she saw a large number of praising comments and likes. As expected of our big beauty Yao, even taken at this angle, she is still so beautiful. Tisk, tisk. Ha. Ha. Just this is considered beautiful. Jin Siming stared at Yao Jin in the picture again and curled her lips in disapproval. Did Jin Siming's body really change that much after differentiation? Such a sturdy back, she must have been able to envelop beauty Yao's entire figure, right? Are these even human words? She was so angry that she jumped off the bed, her heart blazing with fire, and she wished she could reach across the screen and slap the person at least twice. To the comment above, are you discriminating against female alphas? Jin Siming is an S-level alpha. After differentiation, her abilities are definitely top-notch. Isn't it normal for her body to change a lot, and Jin Siming is so beautiful and a high-ranked alpha? You must be jealous, right? Jin Siming's anger was half gone due to this comment, and she quickly gave the comment a like. Oh my god, Yao Jin is so beautiful. I declare that Yao Jin is the most beautiful omega in our school. No one opposes, right? 8 out of the 10 comments were praising Yao Jin's beauty. Just when Jin Siming couldn't stand it anymore, she scrolled down to find a different type of comment. Suddenly the CP vibe has increased. I recommend everyone watch this video link. Jin Siming hesitated, bit her lip, but in the end couldn't help curiously clicking on the link. Emotional BGM began to play and a slow-motion video of her falling on Yao Jin began to play. Frame by frame, the video showed her pushing down Yao Jin to the ground, and then the camera zoomed in on a close-up of Yao Jin's face. There were also sappy and nauseating lyrics underneath, along with a bunch of comments flying across the screen praising the CP. When the camera focused on Yao Jin, the whole screen was covered in comments. Jin Siming took a deep breath and almost threw her phone onto the ground in the next breath. A bunch of freaking nutcases. Do these people have nothing better to do? Why do they only focus on Yao Jin? Not only did she become a stepping stone for Yao Jin, she also was forcibly used as a prop. The more she thought, the more angry Jin Siming got. She even began to suspect that this video was purposefully edited by one of Yao Jin's relatives or friends and specifically used to pull her down while lifting Yao Jin up.
Yao Jin, this is not over. She gritted her teeth and squeezed the phone tightly. Once again, in her heart, she heavily added a mark next to Yao Jin's name on her blacklist.
The next day, in the afternoon, Jin Siming stood in front of the gate of the mall where she agreed to meet her friends. Due to her being so angry over what happened last night, she didn't sleep well and her entire face was pale and she was not in good spirits. My god, Ming Bao, what did you do last night? These dark circles are a little too obvious. Su Xiaohang leaned closer and reached out to touch Jin Siming's eye bags.
Is it still that obvious? Jin Siming quickly took out a small mirror from her bag and took a look. She had already put on a layer of heavy makeup before going out, but it was still there.
Did you stay up all night playing video games again?
No, it's just that I didn't rest well last night.
As a young and beautiful girl who values her appearance very much, she must wear delicate makeup every time she goes out to see people. Not even a strand of her hair can be out of place, but because of that damn Yao Jin, she was so angry and didn't sleep well. Her lack of sleep then caused her to wake up and find dark circles under her eyes that couldn't be covered no matter how much makeup she puts on it.
Forget it. Today we'll do a quick shopping. Let's go directly to the 3rd floor.
Forget it. Today, after she finished speaking, she went straight to the elevator. Xia Weiwei and Su Xiaohang looked at each other before following her. Ming Bao, I think this outfit looks good and suits you very well. This white shirt is not bad, you'll definitely look handsome in it. This polo shirt isn't too bad either. Jin Siming looked at the pile of simple casual clothes that were only in varying shades of grey or white and couldn't help but speak up. We'll do a quick shopping, let us go directly to the third floor.
Can the two of you please pick out some normal clothes that are suited for beautiful girls in the prime of their youth for me? I've only differentiated into an alpha, but I haven't had a sex change. The ones you chose for me are all menswear, aren't they?
You don't like these, but these aren't men's clothing. We're in the alpha section for women after all. There are some skirts and dresses here too. After saying so, Xie Weiwei held out a dark-colored long skirt in front of her. Xieji, I'm only 17 to 18 years old. That skirt is more suitable for 20-year-old corporate slaves. Let us go over there and have a look instead. She gave the old-fashioned skirt a disgusted look and then turned around to walk toward the colorful and girly clothing section next door. Jin Siming instantly felt much more comfortable standing in the section covered with pink and girly skirts and dresses. As expected, this place fits her taste more. She belongs here.
Oh, I think this one is very beautiful. What do you think? After a short moment, she picked out a dress that aligned with her heart and called out to her friends with gleaming eyes.
It's good, that's for sure, but... Su Xiaohang took the clothes and raised them up to compare them against Jin Siming's body. With your current body, you'll probably have to wear the biggest size, right? Jin Siming's happy mood instantly went down the moment she heard these words. Ahem. Who cares if Ming Bao likes it? Then ask them for a suitable size and try it. Xie Weiwei asked the nearby employee to bring a larger size for them and then pushed Jin Siming towards the fitting room. As soon as Jin Siming left, Xie Weiwei pulled Su Xiaohang over and said in a low whisper, Su Xiaohang, you have always been Ming Bao's desk mate, and as her desk mate have you not discovered that after she differentiated she has always deliberately avoided the fact that she is an alpha? She especially hates it whenever anyone mentions her height and body changes. Now that you mention it, there does seem to be. Ming Bao and I used to secretly read alpha beauty magazines together and we often discussed our ideal type S figure and looks. Before, she used to firmly believe that she would differentiate into an omega. So subconsciously she must have fully accepted the changes to her body after her differentiation. You should be more mindful of your words in the future and not accidentally step on a landmine as you did earlier. I understand your reasoning, but she needs to accept her reality sooner or later. Tell me honestly, do you really think that dress just now fits her? Although the sweet and cute type really doesn't suit the current her, what if it has a different effect when she actually wears it? AI, when will my Ming Bao give up her obsession of being a sweet and innocent little princess? She is now so tall and her legs are so long and so she is more suitable for the cool and suave type. If she also trains her abdominal muscles and carves out a few abs, then she'll be just as charming and enchanting as the female alphas in the magazine. People will die from a lack of air because of how breathtaking she'll look. As Su Xiaohang spoke, she held her cheeks with both hands, and her eyes were shining. Tn, Su Xiaohang used a here to mean so alpha, which is the equivalent of saying so manly. Pay, enough. If she comes out and sees you talking about her like this, she'll be disgusted with you. Xie Weiwei teased with a smile. Soon, Jin Siming came out of the fitting room, but instead of calling the other two immediately, she went straight to the mirror and looked at her reflection. When she first differentiated, she was very afraid of looking at herself in the mirror because she couldn't accept the change to her body. Even now, she still feels a little uncomfortable looking at herself in the mirror. She used to have some baby fat on her face, and her face was somewhat round, all soft and waxy. Yet, now her baby fat has completely disappeared, and her face has become thinner and sharper while her facial features have become more solid and distinct. She used to have a soft and sweet face with exquisite and beautiful eyebrows, but now, if she doesn't open her mouth, she would exude a cold temperament of cold beauty. The face is still fine, it's still as beautiful and pretty as before. However, what she couldn't accept the most were the changes to her body shape. After one differentiates into an alpha, their physique and strength are greatly improved, and the higher your rank, the stronger you are. After she differentiated, she grew more than 10 centimeters, and her overall body grew so fast it was like she underwent a second puberty. Fortunately, the changes weren't too ridiculous and were still within the range of a normal female body, but it was still much taller than her petite body from before. However, Jin Siming could not accept the current strong her. Take the current dress she had on now. If it was like before, she would have been able to fit perfectly in it, but now that her body has become bigger, she looks a little strange in it. Especially the puffy design on the sleeves that made her shoulders look wider and even more strong looking than before, and now she looks a bit like female gangster boss. Jin Siming frowned, and although she wasn't very satisfied in her heart, she was still unwilling to admit it and turned around to call for her two little friends to give their opinions. Just when she was about to open her mouth, she spotted a familiar figure in the mirror out of the corner of her eye. The person was walking out of the fitting room behind her, and she was wearing the exact same dress she was trying on now. She took a closer look at the other party and saw Yao Jin's face. It's not a terrible thing to wear the same outfit as someone else, but it is a terrible thing when that person is your sworn enemy and she looks better than you when wearing the same outfit. Chapter 4. The moment Jin Siming saw Yao Jin, she panicked and then quickly tried to cover her face and leave before the other party saw her. However, she was one step too late, as Yao Jin had already seen her.
Jin Siming?
Jin Siming stiffened at the sound of her name and stood awkwardly frozen to the spot. She watched in the mirror as the other person made their way towards her, one step at a time.
It really is you, classmate Jin, what a coincidence.
Since she can't avoid the problem, then she can only face it straightforwardly. She must show a strong front, at the very least. She cannot show her weak side. Jin Siming took a deep breath, and shook off the hand of the other party, that was on her shoulder. She snorted coldly, "Yes, what a coincidence. If I knew you would be here, I wouldn't have come today."
Yao Jin hooked her lips upward and then pretended to be surprised as she looked at Jin Siming's dress. Ah, does classmate Jin like this dress too? We're both wearing the same style, but I didn't know that this dress had an XL size. I thought they only sold it in one size. Although fortunately the one size they do have fits me perfectly.
Haha, monotone. She knew that Yao Jin wouldn't let go of this opportunity to mock her. She had screwed herself over this time. This dress is indeed not suitable for her, and it looks much better on Yao Jin. However, from her experience of playing this game with the other party many times before, she knows she must not get angered by her opponent's words. If she gets angry, then she automatically loses. With these thoughts in mind, Jin Siming crossed her arms, narrowed her eyes, and stared condescendingly down at Yao Jin. Suddenly, she realized that she was now half a head taller than Yao Jin. When she lowered her head, she could easily see the top of Yao Jin's head. A refreshed feeling rose from the bottom of her heart. In the future, she can suppress her opponent in terms of height. At the very least, the taller side would appear to be the stronger side. Right then, in the next second, she remembered the comments on the school forum last night about how her body can cover Yao Jin's entire body, and her heart choked with emotion. She unconsciously looked down and started studying Yao Jin's figure. Perhaps it was because of some kind of omega filter, but Yao Jin's figure seemed to be much slimmer than before. A pair of long legs and a slender waist, her curves were much more nicely shaped than before her differentiation. Her skin is paler, tender, and smoother, especially on her face. It made the red lips look even more delicate and beautiful than they already were. Compared to Yao Jin's flawless complexion, there were dark circles underneath her eyes and her skin was a sickly pale color due to her staying up all night. Just the thought of it made her even more angry.
Classmate Jin? Are you okay?
Yao Jin saw that the other party hadn't responded for a while and was seemingly distracted by other thoughts. She couldn't help but curiously stretch out a hand and wave it in front of Jin Siming's eyes. Yao Jin stood up on her tiptoes and leaned in, blinking her low and narrow phoenix eyes as she closed the distance between them. Jin Siming backed up several steps in fright and shouted,
"What are you doing? Why are you so close to me?"
Classmate Jin is so fierce. You should remember not to be so absent-minded when talking to others in the future. It is impolite. Yao Jin shrank back in an exaggerated manner, as if she was frightened by Jin Siming's shout.
You.
Now, classmate Jin, if you'll please stand to the side. You are blocking my view of the mirror.
Jin Siming opened her mouth to talk, but Yao Jin lightly pushed her to the side and away from the dressing room's mirror. She rolled her eyes when she saw Yao Jin stroking her hair and posing in a narcissistic manner in front of the mirror.
Does it look good on me?
Jin Siming would of course never say anything good when Yao Jin asks her a question. Want to hear the truth? It's average, even a bit ugly.
Is that so? That's rather disappointing. But I think classmate Jin wears it pretty well, a type of neutral beauty that transcends gender.
Jin Siming was dumbfounded for a moment. Yao Jin would never praise her so generously, so if one takes a closer look at her words, damn it, this dress is obviously designed to be overly girly with its princess style. What, neutral beauty and gender? Yao Jin was simply saying that she looks like a male cross-dressing in women's clothing. Yao Jin, you little...
Jin Siming exploded in anger and rushed forward to rip off the girl's face, but was held back by Su Xiaohang and Xia Weiwei, who suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Apparently they had hurried over here when they heard the commotion. Yeah, Ming Bao, why didn't you call us over when you finished changing? Oh, look, the light's better over there, let us go over there for a better angle. Su Xiaohang and Xia Weiwei knew from experiences that these two would fight whenever they met, so they hurriedly tried to smooth things over by gently coaxing Jin Siming to leave. Before they left, they both received a sweet and polite goodbye from Yao Jin. After they left, Gao Mei, who had been standing to the side and watching the show, stood beside Yao Jin. You shouldn't keep teasing her like that. She is an alpha now. What if she gets angry enough that she'll hurt you?
Don't worry, she doesn't have the guts for that, and with her IQ, do you think she'll be able to hurt me?
Yao Jin said casually before she continued trying on some clothes in a happy mood. Meanwhile, Jin Siming looked like a pufferfish as she sat on a soft cushioned seat in the middle of the store.
Have they still not left yet?
Yet. Just waiting for the sales staff to finish wrapping up some clothes. They should be done soon. Su Xiaohang sneakily stood behind a pillar as she peeked into the store and looked in Yao Jin and Gao Mei's direction. After they finally paid and left with their bags, she breathed a sigh of relief. They're gone now, you can go back in and change your clothes now. Jin Siming immediately got up from her seat when she heard these words and walked back into the dressing rooms to change her clothes. She was so angry from quarreling with Yao Jin just now that she walked out of the dressing rooms without changing her clothes. However, she didn't want to see Yao Jin again, so she could only wait for them to leave before going back in to change. However, she never expected that the two of them would take forever trying on clothes, so she had to wait for quite a while. After changing back to her own clothes, Jin Siming suggested they go to the ground floor and grab some food. At the moment, the three of them were chewing on taro balls at a dessert shop. The sound just now was the third sigh Jin Siming had made since entering the shop. Hey, you almost got into a fight with Yao Jin again just now, Don't tell me you were provoked by her again, Xie Weiwei asked casually in a teasing tone.
Tell me the truth, did she really look better than me, in that dress just now? Jin Siming said in a grudging tone.
Xie Weiwei and Su Xiaohang looked at each other and said in unison, yes. Jin Siming dropped her head and poked the taro balls around in her bowl in a melancholic manner. Aya, Ming Bao, you shouldn't use your previous standards to compare with Yao Jin anymore. You two aren't even on the same starting line if you're going to compare with an omega over who's more cute or sweet. As an alpha, you have your own advantages. Jin Siming raised her head.
I have advantages she doesn't have. Like what?
Su Xiaohang sighed in an annoyed and impatient manner. You are an alpha, of course you have advantages that an omega doesn't. For example, you're taller than her, have longer legs than her, much stronger than her, and you can give people a sense of security. Jin Siming's lips twitched.
If it's just more strength, then forget it.
Ahem, what I mean to say is that you now have that aggressive and domineering aura that she doesn't have. Do you remember all those beautiful and imposing female alphas in those magazines we've read? You can try imitating their style of dressing. Jin Siming admits that she used to also drool over those aggressive and powerful female alphas, but back then she was lusting after their bodies. She didn't actually want to be like them and become one. And I have never tried that style before. Do you really think it will suit me? It will definitely suit you more than the sweet and cute style you're obsessed with now. Twack. Jin Siming felt like she just took an arrow through her chest. However, after that defeat just now, with Yao Jin wearing the same clothes but looking better in them than her, she had no choice but to accept reality. She gritted her teeth.
Fine, I'll try it.
That's the right attitude. Let us go to the clothing stores on the 3rd floor. Su Xiaohang stood up excitedly.
Hey, now, wait, I haven't finished eating my dessert yet.
It's 7 already and my dad told me to go home before 9. Also, don't tell me you're afraid you'll bump into Yao Jin again if you go now.
Who said I'm afraid? Let's go, we'll go up now.
Of course, Jin Siming would not admit that she really was afraid of bumping into her enemy. She immediately stood up and followed the two of them up the 3rd floor. The three of them vigorously, and by the time Jin Siming came home with a pile of clothes, it was already 9 in the evening. When she opened the door, she only saw Jin Tong in the living room with the sounds of video games blaring on the TV.
Why are you by yourself? Where are Mom and Dad?
They had something to do and said they won't be back tonight. Why are you back so late? If they hadn't asked me to keep the door open for you, I would have gone to sleep already. Jin Tong complained.
Isn't it only 9? I haven't ever seen you fall asleep before 11. Jin Siming rolled her eyes at her brother, and realized that this guy was looking for trouble again.
This time it's a special situation. I asked Mr. Tony to do my hair tomorrow morning, so I have to go to bed early in order to get up on time. Jin Tong arrogantly stroked his hair and said.
Jin Siming looked at him, with a face full of disgust. What kind of special haircut does a stinky high school brat like you even need? And why do you have to go so early in the morning? What are you really going to do? Are you going to confess to someone tomorrow? Mom has clearly forbidden any type of puppy love before the age of 18. If you try anything, I will definitely tell on you. And the school prohibits any type of hair dyeing anyways, so you better consider the consequences carefully.
Stop. Sister, what are you thinking? I'm just going to a birthday party tomorrow and the host is my goddess. So I wanted to clean up a bit, and I never said anything about dyeing my hair. Oh, by the way, she's in your class. Go with me tomorrow afternoon and help me pick out a gift for her.
My class. Jin Siming froze for a second. She was not familiar with most of the people in air class, and then she said, I never agreed to celebrate anyone's birthday tomorrow. If you want to go, go by yourself.
Aren't you going? They are your classmate, yet you're not going. Jin Tong said in surprise.
Does everyone in your class come to your birthday? Jin Siming gave him an, "You are weird, look, and, you have a goddess. Do you have a crush on her?"
Jin Tong regarded with her disdain. You don't understand. I told you she is a goddess in my heart, therefore she is beyond the realms of such vulgar love. Not only is she so beautiful that she can fascinate anyone, she also has excellent grades, and is a sensitive, gentle, and beautiful soul. Everyone likes her. To me, she is the beacon of light in my heart that shows me the way in this dark life.
Stop, stop, stop. You aren't being pick-up artist, are you? Jin Siming stared wide-eyed at her little brother.
You're the one being PUA. Don't use new words you've learned if you don't know how to use them. I am simply like those girls who are chasing their star or idol.
Wait a second, you said she's beautiful, smart, and in my class. What's her name? Jin Siming suddenly had a bad premonition.
Yao Jin.
Fuck. Please, can someone please just take the 2 words Yao Jin out of her life? Chapter 5. Her entire weekend was ruined as she was put into a gloomy mood due to Yao Jin, but by Monday morning, she was feeling a bit better. She decided not to ride in her father's car to school and instead rode her newly bought bicycle. As the wind brushed her face, her mood lifted even more. When she entered through the school gates, she attracted a lot of attention. Wow, did you see the girl riding the bike just now? She is so handsome. Her bike is so cool too, and her legs are so long. I saw. Such a pity that we couldn't see her face clearly because of her hat, but just from her side profile I can tell that she is beautiful. She must be an alpha. You haven't even differentiated yet, and you can't even perceive pheromones. How can you be so sure that she is an alpha? Because I saw the suppressant sticker on her neck. Plus she is so tall, she must be an alpha. But there aren't that many female alphas at our school, so I should know her name. It's unscientific that I don't. After the makeover and crazy transformation Su Xiaohang did to her on Saturday, Jin Siming wore a sporty outfit today. She wore a white t-shirt with a loose waistcoat over it and a casual pair of shorts. If she was the same as before, she would never have worn this style. But now this type of simple and handsome style was quite suitable for her. And with all the attention she got along her way to the classroom, Jin Siming had to admit that Su Xiaohang's suggestions seemed to be correct. It's just, it used to be alpha boys that used to pay attention to her, but now most of the people who sneaked a look at her were girls or male omegas. However, this did not deter her and she walked into the classroom with a beaming smile. The seats in the back few rows were still empty. This is because this is only their second year of high school, meaning they did not have as much pressure as the third years to do well and study for their exams. So the only people who come to class early are usually those who are boarding at the school, while those who still live at home took their time getting here. There were still 10 minutes left before the first period and most of the class had not arrived yet. The more active students sat in the first few rows, reciting some vocab words in a low whisper in preparation for the first period, which was English. The English teacher liked to randomly call on students to recite or write on the board, so those in the first row tend to be quite nervous. Unlike the classmates that sat in the back, who slowly waited for their breakfast to finish digesting as they hid behind their fellow classmates. Jin Siming's seat in the last row. So as soon as she walked in through the door at the back of the classroom, she heard her desmate Su Xiaohang arguing with Bean Sprout. "Ah, Ming Bao, you're here." Su Xiaohang immediately abandoned the Bean Sprout and stood in front of Jin Siming. "Our Ming Bao indeed looks the best in this style. Today's Ming Bao is like a refreshing can of orange soda. I must take a picture and record this moment." TN, in original text it's more like orange flavored soda, with orange flavored or orange scent being a slang for lesbian. Jin Siming quickly grabbed Su Xiaohang's wrist when she saw her take out her phone.
Su Xiaohang, are you going to start with this again? How many times have I told you to stop taking sneaky pictures of me?
When have I taken a sneaky picture of you? All of my pictures are honest shots that I take right in front of you. Also, I'm simply helping you record this beautiful yet fleeting moment of your youth. Su Xiaohang struggled to escape her grip a few times, and then gave up and pretended to be pitiful.
I never allowed you to take a picture of me, honest or not. Next time I find you take another picture of me without my permission, I won't let you copy my homework anymore.
Su Xiaohang looked like she had been pinched and immediately withered. Fine, in front of homework. How does a beauty compare? I'll stop taking pictures of you in the future. Jin Siming smiled and gave Su Xiaohang her homework.
Now those words I like to hear. Here, have my homework.
With Su Xiaohang frantically copying her homework, her surroundings grew much quieter. Jin Siming took out her English textbook and prepared to use this precious 5 minutes of silence to write down all the words they had to memorize for the first period. As an S-rank alpha, she has an almost photographic memory, so it was not arrogance for her to only use 5 minutes of time to memorize something that takes another person hours to do. She concentrated on memorizing the list, but she couldn't help but get distracted by the feeling of someone looking at her. She looked up but couldn't find the source of the strange feeling. The little fellow in the third row on the left has looked at you 3 times. The arts committee member in the middle of the 6th row has peeked at you 6 times, and the little green T, who is also the only male omega in the class, has looked at you 4 times. Ming Bao, you really should thank me for changing your style. I, Su Xiaohang, will be the woman who will help you ascend to the throne of being the most beautiful alpha in this school. Su Xiaohang, who was so busy copying homework before, wasn't so focused now and instead was observing everyone else in their vicinity.
What kind of nicknames have you given our classmates? You better focus on your homework. The class committee members will come to collect the homework real soon, Jin Siming said with a disgusted expression, but was secretly feeling pleased inside her heart. As a beautiful person, she naturally was a bit narcissistic, and in fact her criteria for making friends when she was younger was whoever praised her good looks. People who said she looked beautiful always made a good impression on her. Yao Jin hasn't come to class yet. She had been paying attention to the classroom surroundings since entering the classroom, yet Yao Jin's seat has been empty this entire time.
Why do you suddenly care about her? Have you made up with her? Su Xiaohang asked in shock. Jin Siming glared at her.
We've never been on good terms in the first part, how would we have made up?
Then why are you asking about her?
Jin Siming said hurriedly, why can't I ask?
Of course you can. Well, she wasn't here when I arrived in the classroom, so she shouldn't even be at school yet. Knowing that Jin Siming would blow up at the slightest mention of Yao Jin, Su Xiaohang immediately and obediently answered her question. The reason why Jin Siming asked about Yao Jin was that she wanted to compare their looks again. Today, she thinks she can definitely beat Yao Jin, who is usually the center of attention, and completely sweep away the shame from last Saturday. Speak of the devil. In the next second, Yao Jin really did appear at the door wearing the dress from last Saturday. Jin Siming narrowed her eyes. Yao Jin must be doing this on purpose. Right as soon as Yao Jin entered the classroom, many people approached her to say hello. As a sociable and friendly person, she is the core figure of many social groups in their class. In fact, except for Jin Siming, she treated everyone in a friendly manner and most people liked her for that. However, in Jin Siming's opinion, everyone has a flaw and it is impossible to have a good relationship with everyone. Therefore, someone like Yao Jin who seemingly accepts anyone who approaches her must be pretending to be a white lotus when she actually has a black heart inside. Jin Siming let out a cold snort as she watched Yao Jin deal with the crowd around air. However, When Yao Jin turned her gaze towards her, she quickly averted her gaze. In a blink of an eye, the first period had ended and it was break time. Jin Siming got up and made her way to the bathroom. When she entered the hallway outside the classroom, she saw Yao Jin, as expected, chatting outside with a few people. If the corridor is an important social occasion for school students, then Yao Jin is a frequent visitor here. However, Jin Siming is the exact opposite of her. Unless someone is looking for her, she rarely stops in the hallways. In her opinion, meaningless social interaction and small talk is a waste of time. Isn't it better to enjoy your time reading some comics and novels instead? Furthermore, the hallway is already narrow enough that 3 people walking side by side might feel a little crowded. With so many people standing around and moving, it was quite a feat to walk around during break times. She hated these times of crowds most of all, as she would always have to worry about hitting a random human bomb. So before the hallways are completely filled, she must make her way quickly or else she will be stuck in the crowd. However, she barely walked through the back door of the class when she was stopped by a girl. A sweet-looking girl with bangs blocked Jin Siming's path, and then looked up at her shyly. "Excuse me, can you get Zhong Qian from your class for me?" Jin Siming was dumbfounded for a moment. Who is Zhong Qian again? She felt relieved that she actually didn't know, thus she didn't have to do what the girl said, but she also realized she doesn't remember most of the people in her class. However, that being said, no one has ever asked her to do something like this before and she was still anxious about making it to the restroom before the crowd gets here.
The teacher isn't in class anymore, you can go on in and get them yourself.
Who knows why, but the girl suddenly blushed and refused to move. I am too embarrassed to go, can you help me out?
As more and more people entered the hallway, Jin Siming grew more anxious. You sure are high maintenance, huh? Fine, I'll do it. After saying that, she turned her head, called out the name, and then walked past the girl.
Little did she know that when the sweet girl heard her words, not only did her face turn red and then a little pale, but she also bit her lower lip tightly, before looking down with a hurt look. This scene just happened to be seen by Yao Jin and her friends standing to the side. Gao Mei leaned close to Yao Jin and whispered in her ear, "I used to think that Jin Siming's personality was quite annoying before, but after her differentiation into an alpha, her straightforward personality is kinda cute." That Omega girl obviously has feelings towards her and purposefully tried to strike up a conversation with her, yet she didn't even notice.
Yao Jin smiled, a hint of teasing in her upturned eyes. This is the first time I've seen her being hit on by an Omega. She used to reject those boys straightforwardly like this before, but because of her differentiation into Alpha, it's different now. This contrast is probably the only reason you feel that inexplicable cuteness. Nothing more.
You two really do hate each other. Whatever. Speaking of, is that boy from the vocational high school still harassing you? If he's being too much, let Yang Ji help you out. I'm afraid that.
Yao Jin was silent in the face of Gao Mei's concern, but then said in a low whisper, "It's fine, I can solve this problem myself."